Well, that's, I mean, when we talk about open source, that's always a concern. Anytime you bring in a third party package that's open source or using a third party tool that's open source is that activity, and also keeping up to date and making sure that yes, it is still in active development. It's being actively maintained. There are contributors, because that's always a fear. In fact, that happened to us at Octopus, where one of the core packages that we relied on, I believe it was Nancy FX, they just stopped working on. I'm like, uh-oh. And so we had to go through and change out all the code that was using that to something that was provided by Microsoft. Thankfully, Microsoft had completely rewritten a few things, and it made it much easier to make that transition over. And I suspect that's also why Nancy FX stopped being worked on. But yes, that's always a concern that you have, is making sure that yes, you have the stewards that are out there to do that. Because yeah, that's I I I feel sorry for anyone who has to go through that when it someone decides to stop working on it or stop supporting that tool, because now you just put a burden of unplanned work onto a group of people.
Yeah, and I 100% understand that open source maintainers do not get rewarded for a lot of their effort.
Yeah,
And so I can totally understand why it gets to the point where you just can't dedicate that amount of time to it. But it also highlights that the open source isn't free,
yeah,
because effectively at any point open source can cause you to have to go and change your code in order to kind of replace that open source project, or deal with other issues that can arise through the supply chain security, which we spoke about last week.
yeah, yeah. You're absolutely right. And so that it it is interesting because you do have that. It's open. It's so it should be free, but you're right. There is a it's a person hour cost. It's not a licensing cost, so to speak.